Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of a mental health mini. Again, we're trying to branch out with some differences rather than just talking to one single person. Today, I have Johnny and Danny from Say It Lad. Hi, guys.
I
How
think.
you doing?
Say It Lad are they promote men's mental health. We got in touch with them around football, unsurprisingly, as most of our guests are. Um, Danny, Johnny, do you want to introduce yourselves? Danny, I'll start with you. Just give us a bit of background on yourself.
Yeah, sure. Danny, Norwich season ticket holder, have been for many years, and mental health advocate now. Been somebody that has often seen home and away, watching our boys, yeah. And more recently, now stepping into this arena of men's mental health, trying to help people off the back of my own experiences.
Cool. And Johnny?
Yeah, I'm Johnny. I am the original founder of Say It Lad. I follow Norwich City. I have done. I've lived in the city all my life. Um, but yeah, I mean, I can see the peaks and the troughs that people go through there. But yeah, so Say It Lad was born through my own personal experiences with mental health. Um, and yeah, and just how I've coped with it and where it's come from and where it's got to at this point.
Wonderful. As always, we are sort of ask the same things, what are your experiences and stuff like that. So, kind of between the two of you, it'd be good to get to know. As I say to everyone, though, don't worry. Tell us as much or as little as you guys want. Talk about
Sure.
experiences. But Johnny, then I'll start with you. You mentioned obviously you started this based on your experiences. What
Yeah,
have they
yeah.
been? What have you
Yeah,
felt
so
like?
so I've experienced mental health issues since 2008. It all started for me because I'm a bit of a germaphobe and a bit of a food freak. And I was taken to the Dominican Republic by an a now ex-girlfriend, whereas it was an all-inclusive thing. And I was freaking out about what food I was going to eat and if I was going to get ill and things like that. And I think that's where my anxiety came from. Um, and then since then, up until about 2 years ago, I'd had like general like anxiety and kind of, but not that really stopped me from doing too much. And then I went to bed one night and woke up completely different. I mean, I didn't have any trauma in that 24 hours. I didn't have anything that happened to me. I just went to bed and I woke up the next morning and I was riddled with anxiety. And I mean, proper anxiety, like body shivers, the lot kind of anxiety. I had major depression. Like it was, I always describe it as like this big cloak because I feel like when you've got something, you can, like, if you don't feel great, you can take something off. Like you can take a pill, you can get rid of it. But this cloak kind of followed me everywhere. Um, and yeah, and from then on, it was all about like trying to find a way to get better. Um, I'd done all the cognitive behavioral therapies, I'd done normal therapies, I'd spoken to this expert, I'd spoken to that expert, and I just didn't get anywhere. It felt so regimented and so strict, and that's the process that you follow, sir. And if that doesn't get you better, then we can't help you, kind of thing. And um, I know the mental health services are busy. Do you know what I mean? Like I know that they can't look at every case individually, but I felt at that point, I felt so alone that there was no one coming over to me apart from my family who didn't really know what to do with me. Who I wanted someone to come along and go, right, this is what we do to make you better. But there wasn't anyone like that. It was as soon as I put the phone down, it was right, when's the next appointment? Like, what do I do? So I found at that point that the only person that was going to make me any better was myself. So I had to just, and I'd like everyone really, you take kind of one day at a time. I had this weird kind of like feeling that I couldn't focus on the future. If I focused on the future and what was in front of me, it made me really anxious. It was almost like a fear of like the next day and the day after that, probably because the way I was feeling, it's the most unusual and awful feeling that you can have because you're anxious of the future. So that was something that I had to kind of like ground myself with, and I learned all about the grounding techniques. And I went out and I bought all the grounding sheets and all that rubbish and wasted my money on things like that. Um, but then I just concentrated on right, what's going to make me feel better. So I started doing more of that. I surrounded myself with my family. I surrounded myself with things that I like doing. I pushed away anything that I didn't like doing that made me feel anxious. I probably like stayed in a lot because it made me feel comfortable, but at that time I needed to do that. And then it was like a focus, right? I need a focus. So it was, what can I do to help other people in that spot to stop people from ever feeling like that? Do you know what I mean? So it then came around of, sorry, I'm rambling here. We'll get to it in a minute, Danny.
Don't worry.
It's a bit like a voice note. Once I start, I can't stop. And it got to that point that I thought, right, I needed something that I know is going to help someone that's in the position that I was in. And what I needed is I needed to hear other voices. I needed to hear other people say, yeah, don't worry, mate. Like, what you're going through is completely normal. You're not on your own when you do feel like you're own. And this is how you will get through it, or this is some techniques how you could get through it. And I know that wasn't going to come from like a support group, because I'm not really sociable. Danny will tell you that. I kind of like, I can talk about something when I've got something to talk about, but you put me in a group of people and I'll just go quiet, like I'll go in on myself. So I thought, right, the best thing you can do is record something that you don't know necessarily anyone's going to hear. And if they do hear, they're not going to judge you. So that was where the voice note idea came from. And it was just getting as many people to leave voice notes on our platform that could then either listen to it or they could leave their own and then have their own kind of experiences to then help that next person. And then that was where my link comes in to Danny. Me and Danny have worked together for a long time, and we've always had mental health issues in common. So we've always talked about things like this with each other. And it just felt the natural fit to bring Danny on board, because when you've got someone who, again, needs a focus and wants to feel like they're creating some kind of legacy, then that was perfect. And now we bounce off each other with ideas for this as well. And we've actually brought a third person on board, a chap called Ian Haste, who he's not with us today. He's with us, but he's not with us on the podcast. He's been really helpful. And again, it's something that I'm quite precious about, because it's my baby. But I want to bring as many people on as I can to help, because I know how it's helped me to have that focus. So we get messages every day, don't we, Danny? Like from lads going, how can I help? How can I do this? How can I do that? And it's just about creating this big brotherhood of people that are all able to help each other and get through life, basically. And now I'll let Danny talk. Sorry, mate.
No, it's fine. So I've got a couple of things once Danny's I want to bring up
Sure.
with you, but yeah, Danny, that's some act to follow. What about
he's some act to follow. I've never heard him talk so much, Johnny. That's brilliant. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat now. I've been listening so much, but no, just sort of I'll keep it brief, because you don't want to hear me talk too much. But I have had mental health problems, I would say similar sort of times to Johnny, around 2008. That's that sort of time when I was initially made redundant from a job. I think it was Aviva at the time I was made redundant for. And I found myself feeling like butterflies in my stomach all the time. I'd walk in a room where I maybe wasn't the first person in that room. And these butterflies, I later understood that it was anxiety. And this became sort of crippling. Now, anybody that knows me will know that I am a really outgoing person. I could talk in an empty room. You know, you wouldn't want to get stuck in a lift with me, that type of person. I'm happy talking to anyone, but a lot of it is an act, I feel, because the anxiety is crippling. And the minute I'm not talkative, people will think I'm being moody. But I have to really try and manage it. It's difficult when, we manage teams at work and I'm having to do morning meetings, afternoon meetings. There's sometimes I'm just like, I can't be bothered to do it, but I have to drag myself and do it. Alongside the anxiety, that has then sort of sat with me. I've had medication. I've been, like Johnny says, on the wellbeing services, and I didn't mind that. The talking without judgment was incredibly powerful, and that was something I really enjoyed doing. But then when it finished, it was done. It was like, off you go. And then I found myself spiraling again, the anxiety. And with this, I've always had mild depression as well. So with me, I'm either up here or I'm down there. There's nothing in between. And again, it's a constant daily battle. I'm a single father. I lost my mum last year. High pressure job. Life's hard, and you're trying to get yourself right to make life work. Where I wasn't always good was I didn't want to be a burden on people. so I'd keep a lot of it inside. I wouldn't want to. I mean, with all due respect to my dad, when I speak to my dad, he's like, "Well, I won't swear, but what are you anxious for? What are you worrying for? Your job's all right, your daughter's all right. Well, what you got to worry about?" But I will find something to worry about non-stop. It's hideous. If you said to me, "Let's go out on Saturday," I would worry about getting there. I would worry about what I'm wearing, and it sounds really trivial, but it just eats away at me. You couple that with the moods, the anxiety, the depression. It will depend how I wake up one morning. At the minute the clock's going back, I'm preempting this in my head that I'm going to get sad. I'm going to get depressed because of the sunlight and all of this. It's a constant battle in my head to try and be level. Obviously, losing my mum last year was the biggest thing, and obviously my granddad a little bit before that, and that is when I think I've took the bull by the horns myself, sort of bringing us up to where we are with Say It Lad now. And me and Johnny have worked together for a few years. And we have always been open, talking, and I think that has helped. It's been massive, being able to talk to people, because I think there is still this massive stigma around, especially men's mental health. Oh, you'll be all right, man up. You'll be all right, crack on, put your big boy pants on. Things like that people say, but it is actually all right to cry. It is all right to shut the curtains and be on your own sometimes, but it's hard. It is hard, but the more we're now finding is people are aligning a lot more and being more open, and that's helping.
So there's a couple of things for both of you I want to ask about. So Danny, the one thing you mentioned there that rings true with me is the kind of being a burden. One of the things that got me into trouble actually, sort of later on during my journey, was I was spent so long trying to help other people that I was like just didn't deal with my own stuff. Um, and I've got mates, I've got two best friends and my wife who have their own struggles, and I would always try and help them. And then eventually got to a point where they were almost shouting at me to kind of look after myself. And nothing had happened, don't get me wrong. I hadn't got anywhere near that stage, but they knew what they could see that I wasn't right. And they just found different ways. And one of my mates he knows exactly whether he needs to insult me or whether he needs to be nice to me. And he knows I don't know how he knows. It's like a sixth sense to him, but he always seems to get it right. And so yeah, so in terms of you, sorry to bring it to you, it's like, how do you still feel like you're a burden, or have you kind of got past that now?
I'll always feel a burden. I don't think I've been miraculously healed from that. I think it's up to me to manage it. I'm like you say you were. I'll help anyone. I'll give someone my last pound. I'll go and collect someone at 2 a.m. if they need a lift. I'm always looking to help people. Like Johnny says, we're waking up to messages now from a lot of lads, and I'm more than willing to help them. I'm happier to help them rather than myself. Like I think 2 weeks ago, my dad offered to help me.
Sorry to butt in there. I've been surprised at how many voice notes I've had or we've had that have come through where guys feel like they're a burden. Now that's it. I find this fascinating because I've never experienced that. Like I've had the anxiety and the depression stuff, but I think it's amazing how one person can feel like that and then another person not feel like that. Do you know what I mean? Like that has never ever come into my mind. But then Danny, I'll have things that Danny will go, I've never had that as well. And it's fascinating how the mind works and what brings things like that on. But these are like man, I'd done a festival, and I always remember it. Like this guy walked towards me, and he was built like a brick. He was covered in tattoos, skin it, and he walked up to me, and I felt like he was just going to go, what is all this? Do you know what I mean? Like I had all the t-shirts out and I had all the leaflets out. And within 10 minutes, he was crying because he was like, oh, like, this is amazing what you're doing. Like, I feel like such a burden to everyone. I can't talk to anyone because I've got like this image. And you just think like someone like that really kind of like rang true that everyone is the same. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone is going through something, and it doesn't matter what you look like. You've just got people from all walks of life. On the website, we've got voice notes from like drug addicts that are living on the street. And then we've got the next one who's a multi-millionaire businessman. And you just think like, it's crazy that it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, mental health is something that will affect everyone. Look at me. Like I've had I would say, like, I can't put my finger on what triggered my anxiety because I've had such a nice upbringing. I've had such a beige upbringing. Do you know what I mean? I've had no trauma. I've had nothing that's happened, yet I still suffer from it really badly. And it's amazing. What do you know what I mean? Like every bloke is the same. And I think what Say It Loud has done for me and Danny is it's made us realise that there's so much that goes on behind closed doors. I mean, we've got guys who we work with who you'd never think that they've got mental health issues. And then they pop up on our group and then they're like chatting to us at work, and people in the city that we speak to. I mean, we're both Norwich lads. You know what I mean? We've lived here forever. And you're getting people that are coming up to you going, oh, yeah, I've suffered from this as well. And it does create this like brotherhood of guys that you would never expect to have felt or spoken about this. And everyone does feel about it. It's crazy, really.
To back up what you're saying, Johnny, if anyone's watching this, I urge you to go and watch one of the favorite mental health meetings I've ever done is Rob Butler's, because Rob very kindly agreed to do it because he knows it's an important subject, and he started out going, I'm fine, like I'm very lucky, I haven't really experienced it. And by the end of the 15-minute session we've had talking about it, he is ranting and raving about the abuse he's had and about how he's struggling. And the change from the start to the end of Rob is one of my favorite, because it just shows you that sometimes you don't even see it yourself until you start talking about it.
But that's exactly right. That's the talking part, isn't it? That's the talk. Like people do bottle it up, and like Danny said, like there's a guy you're always told to, like, oh come on mate, sort it out, like, and a bit of banter from your mates, and then you go, okay, that really didn't sort anything. So again, the power of the voice note that we've found is that guys, they will often start the voice note, oh, I don't really know what to say. 20 minutes later, they're still talking. Do you know what I mean? So as soon as you do start talking, and I think the beauty is that you know that no one's on the other end of it, so you're not going to get interrupted, and you don't have to go, oh, okay, I better tone it down a bit. You just get it all out, and you just
they're real, aren't they? The ones we
absolutely.
Get the language, the descriptions of what they're going through, the drugs they're taking, all sorts. There's absolutely zero filters.
And because it's anonymous, that like lads can be like that, and I think like when I first started it, I was a bit like, will people will they want to talk on a voice note? And turns out, I mean, we've got nearly 100 voice notes on the site now. We've got probably double that of lads that have actually said, you know what, I'm not ready for it to go on the site just yet. So we've kept those ones back. But when people say men aren't talking, men are talking. My issue is that like there's no one like at that crisis point who can actually listen and do something, because they're just so overwhelmed.
You both sort of alluded to, Danny mentioned this to start with, and Johnny, you've just mentioned it, and we talk about the stigma that's behind this. Now, we should also say, as bad as that stigma is, we are improving. And one of the reasons that I've loved what I've seen of Say It Loud is how much you're shouting about this kind of thing. But and evidence that we are changing is our Declan Rudd video we did the other day. There was a comment on there about how men never used to be like this, man up, and like really kind of really aggressive of insulting. But the overwhelming response to that comment was positive, of this guy being, I assume it was a guy, to be honest, I don't know, but being called out, being ridiculed for having such an I can't even think of the
it was disgusting. It was disgusting, wasn't it? It was absolutely disgusting. I saw the comment. It was rank. And I think you're always going to get the minority with everything, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think.
But was it an anonymous quote? Was it, or was it?
It was someone using their initials. So we don't doesn't it? It was on the pink, and as a comment, someone had their initials. But don't know who it was. But it was the response to that, with everyone going, no, that's not the way people should feel anymore. It was such a good, and I wanted, both of you alluded to the stigma, and we still need to get rid of that stigma, but it is going in the right direction.
I mean,
absolutely.
Those comments, I mean, they're awful, but I kind of feel like that person that's put that is, I won't say what they are because we know what they are, but they're almost very lucky in a way, because if you put that, you don't understand what mental health issues are. And to be able to be that person that goes through life being a bit of a knob by by saying things like that, but being actually able to say it and know that they haven't experienced mental health, they're very lucky in a way. Do you know what I mean? Because you imagine a life with where you can say stuff like that because you don't understand mental health, and you actually lead a lot. I mean, us three on here, we've all had it. You imagine your life without mental health issues. You'd probably give up anything that you have right now to go through life with no mental health issues. Every time I see, sounds a bit weird, but every time I see like a lorry with hay bales on, I've always been told to take like to wish on it. Yeah. I don't know whether you have, it might just be what my mum told me to do, but I always wish that my kids never have mental health issues. And that is the one thing that I want my kids to grow up with. I don't care what job they have, anything else. I just want them to grow up without having mental health issues. And in this day and age, that's hard. Do you know what I mean? We grew up with 4 channels on a TV and a newspaper. You don't know what's going on. We grew up without social media.
Yeah.
So now with all that pressure, it is so hard to protect your children from anything on the outside influences, because they're going to have a tough life. They're going to have a tough life. That spins my head. Do you know what I mean? That makes me anxious of what they've got to go through. So
having a teenage daughter, I can completely resonate with that. I've gone upstairs before and I've gone to tell her off. And then as I'm telling her off, I've realised she's got a whole class of FaceTime on there. You know, we can't control everything. It's impossible now, and it's the outside influences the kids are getting. You try and protect them as much as you can, but we've just got to try and equip them the best as we can, I think, being the key part. But just going back to the comment on Declan's podcast, you know, you look at a lot of the people now that do suffer from mental health. You look at Tyson Furies, the late Ricky Hatton. You know, these were men's men, weren't they? These were big, strong men, fighters, world champions. They were struggling with mental health. So if they can struggle with it, anybody can struggle with it. You never know the battle that somebody's having.
Absolutely. You look at the celebrities that we've lost that you think have the world at their feet.
Yeah.
One of the one that always strikes me and always gets me down is Robin Williams, the happiest man ever.
Yeah.
One of the funniest men, always had a smile on his face, and we lose him to mental health. So when anyone comments that it's, when anyone ever comments that it's not as serious as it is, it always kind of upsets me a little bit. It's like, I'm very lucky in one sense that I'm nowhere near the level I was previously, and that's why I want to help people. And you guys are doing brilliant work, but it still exists, and it will affect anyone. And obviously, you guys focus on men's mental health, but we shouldn't forget that it affects everyone.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what sex or gender you are, it will affect you. So I kind of want to move on to the next question, because you kind of both alluded to it already. Your coping mechanisms. So we've talked about a few experiences, but Danny, you've got a kid. How do you cope? Johnny, we talked about your kids. How do you cope? Like, what is your kind of your day-to-day routine that kind of helps you and you think about, and also kind of long term, what do you look out for? What do you notice the signs yourself, or do you need other people to? Danny, I'll go with you first, mate.
I think coming with age, excuse me. I think coming with age, I've become a lot more self-aware of what I need, what I don't need, what type of nights out I need, what type of nights out I don't need. My friend circle's got smaller. But for me, I've just been diagnosed with ADHD as well, and I've gone through a lot of different testing, and the awareness that I'm now having of myself, I've never been in this place before. I'm now understanding why I'm doing certain things, why I react in certain ways. How can I manage something completely different, maybe to how I have? How it's mad. But I think with me, routine is massive for me now. I love a night out as much as the next person, you know, but a routine for me now is, for example, the weekend. We won't talk about the football because I don't think it's good for anyone's mental health at the minute. But me, honestly, peace and quiet, walking the dog. That dog has been my saviour. You know, the last 4 years I've had him, he's been there through part of lockdown. He was there when my mother passed. And as much as my daughter, the dog has been an absolute godsend. I'm getting out 3-4 times a day, walking in, clearing the head, putting a podcast in, listening to things like this, to football ones, to music ones, listening to music. But also it has been, you know, people like Johnny. You know, you become a little bit more picky about the people you do mix with, the people you talk with, the people you confide in. Like, I've got people that I could probably go on a night out with, but I know how it would end. It would end at probably 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't want that anymore because the knock-on effect of that. And the thing that I love now is that you see so many people younger than us are choosing lifestyle of going down and having a cold bath and running clubs everywhere. People are now choosing this. Exercise is massive for me. We've recently had an event with South Lad and Hustle, the boxing gym. Exercise is massive. The feeling you never regret doing a workout, whether it's a walk, whether it's boxing, whether it's lifting weights, you'll never regret it. And to get that consistency in training has been precious, priceless.
Nice hook. Johnny, yourself, how's your day-to-day?
Mine's like Danny, routine. If I'm in a routine, if I know what I'm doing, then I'm okay. Like I wake up, the first thing I do when I wake up is I kind of think to myself, how do I feel? And that can be how my day goes. I'm constantly going, do you feel okay? And if I feel a little bit of a dip, I'm like, okay, why am I dipping? And I'm constantly kind of like analyzing my own thoughts, which is probably not that healthy. But yeah, routine. If I come out of my routine, if I have to go somewhere I'm not comfortable with, if I have to meet people that I'm not comfortable with, if I have to travel somewhere that I'm not comfortable with, it kind of spins my head. I like my own surroundings and I'm comfortable with my own surroundings. I like staying in. I'm a good stayer inner. But I surround myself with my kids. I've got a dog as well. I got a dog a year and a half ago when I was going through all this, because I'd heard the dogs are supposed to be quite therapeutic and quite kind of like a good companion and gets you out walking. So I've got my little puppy as well. And yeah, we do go out walking every day. But I just, like to cope. I don't know if anyone ever copes, really. I just get by. You just get through it.
You minimize it, don't you? You minimize that feeling.
You do
manage
stuff.
it.
Yeah, you do stuff that makes you feel good. You surround yourself with people that make you feel good. And when you get to a certain age, I mean, I don't know how old you are, David. I know Danny's quite old.
Younger than you.
Whatever. But when you do get to a certain age, like, you do just push the people away that don't mean anything, that are gonna be toxic. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no point in being around people like that. There's no point in fake friendships or anything like that. Just surround yourself with good stuff. Enjoy each day as much as you possibly can, and just get through it. That's my advice.
It's interesting you mentioned the friend thing. So one of the things that in my youth I was not particularly good at was understanding toxic friendships. Now, my friends were just kind of, no one ever did anything that you would consider like bad, but doesn't mean they were good friends either. And actually, over sort of, I was talking to a friend of mine who is in this sort of circle of really close friends I've got, and I realised that all the people I count on that are my friends, I've known for over a decade. And I only realized that the other day. I was like, I have systematically kind of got rid of the people that I don't, not intentionally. It's not I've gone, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Just fizzles out.
I found myself drifting away because they didn't do the things I wanted to do. They didn't act the way I wanted to act. They didn't. It was one-way conversation. It's like, no, not doing that anymore. And it did, and unbeknownst to me until the other day when I was talking to my friend, it has helped. It has made a difference. But yeah, it's interesting you bring that up actually. The thing that I really want to sort of say to the both of you is I've heard so many times about pets helping. And obviously, different people have different pets. Like my family are dog families. My wife is very much a cat person. So it doesn't matter on the pet, but that pet can be almost a sounding board sometimes.
I think it's when you struggle to get out. Like before I had my dog, if I walked the streets by myself, I'd probably look like I was having a mental breakdown, which I probably was, to be fair. But then. And people look at you funny, don't they? You just wander in the streets. But when I had my dog, it was something that even if I didn't want to go out for a walk, I still had to. So she would kind of drag me out and get me doing 3 or 4 miles each day. And do you know what I mean? And once you're out and once you've done it, then it's great. And you do. Otherwise, what do? You choose to just stay in and just fester on the settee or something like that. So it's one of those things that it's like if I went to the gym. I'd have to have a personal trainer because I haven't got the motivation to get up and do it myself. I'd sit on the machines because they're comfortable, but I wouldn't work out as hard as what I would with a PT. So my dog is my PT. There you go. So I have to get out, a bit like you, Danny. Like it's easy to stay in, but if you've got a reason to go out because this little furry thing is pawing at you and barking, that you have to take him out. So,
and do you know what? The dogs. I've always been brought up with dogs, and it's just unconditional, isn't it? Like with me, when I have time by myself, I can sit and I can overthink. I'm a massive overthinker. Having a 13-year-old daughter now, she's out a lot more with her friends. She's not wanting to hang about with dad anymore. So the dog is, he's really helping with the loneliness element of it, because I do hate sometimes being by myself, sitting there overthinking. But with him, I'm out all the time, just getting fresh air. And I must say, me and Johnny have got the two most manly dogs as well, haven't we?
So my intention with the reason they're called mental health minis is that I want to keep them relatively short to keep kind of people listening to the whole thing,
Sure.
because I think that what you guys and other interviews have had to say is really important. I don't want people to kind of skip past any of it. So I do want to start wrapping up soon, but there is a couple of things I do want to ask about. So the final question I normally ask is kind of what's your advice to anyone listening to this, that is either struggling themselves or know someone that's struggling? What would your advice be? Johnny, I'll go to you first, mate.
Yeah, my advice would be just to talk. Like it is, I know it's so cliche when you say talk about it, but honestly, the power of talking about it, even if it's like I say to people when they're thinking about leaving a voice note, if you don't want to send it, just record it. Just whatever's in your head, because we know that stuff goes round and round and round and round, and it manifests into bigger things and worse things. So if you get it out and you speak about it, you've got it out onto a voice note. If you feel like you want to send it to us because it will help someone else, then do. If not, just delete it and then record another one the next day. But honestly, since I've been talking about it, it is like a weight's just been lifted off your shoulders. It is just such a powerful thing to be able to do. Just talk about it. So I think that is my advice. Just find someone, use us, use a mate, use anyone, but just get it out of your head and just talk about it.
And Danny, yourself, I know you've echoed that already, but anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think no. To add to it, it would be just talk. There's always somebody willing to listen. We are at Say It Loud. We'll do it. There's a lot of other organisations out there that can help as well. Your mates, you never know what your mates are going through, because it's the funny thing is that the more you talk about it with your mates, the more you realise you've got it in common.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about all through the podcast about and all through the interview about talking. This is normally where I would start wrapping up, saying goodbye, but I really want to ask you, and the whole reason I wanted to talk to you guys is the organisation that you run, Say It Lad. I want to know. I want anyone watching this or listening to this. I want to know more about it.
Sure.
What is it? Why do you do it? Which is obviously the point of this.
Yeah.
And how can people use the service? What do you offer?
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It's wonderful.
So keeping it simple, we are the world's first. I can say that because I've searched everywhere. The world's first men's mental health platform based on anonymous voice notes. So we don't have sign-ups, we don't have forms to fill out, we don't have anything like that. All you need to do is go to our website, which is sayitloud.com. If you are struggling and you want to talk, there's a button that says send. That takes you straight to your WhatsApp on your phone, and you record a voice note like you would to a mate, and then you send it in. Now, if you're on the other end and you think, well, I'm not ready to talk yet, I want to listen, you hit the listen button. That takes you to what we call the wall, and the wall is basically a collection of all the voice notes that have been sent in. Like I say, we're nearly at 100 now of ones we're allowed to share, because we'll always ask you if we're allowed to share it. They go on there, and you can just listen to what other guys are going through from top to bottom without filling out any forms. We'll never charge for it because we don't want to go down that route. It is complete anonymity. Go on it, listen, and it will help you out that way. And then you can see, obviously, stories from us. You can see who we've got supporting us. We've got Leon McKenzie supporting us. We've got Simon Thomas as well from Sky Soccer AM, Soccer Saturday. He's supporting us as well. We've had other guys on there. We've had Fenners from Soccer AM on there. We've got lots of different people that are willing to help and willing to talk and willing to listen. But the main thing is it's all based on anonymous voice notes. So there's no judgment. There's no one that's going to kind of like talk back to you. It's just completely anonymous.
I think what I love is the people that are willing to help. I mean, these podcasts, I do them to help people. I'm not interested in being an influencer or anything like that. I would be the worst ever influencer. But even like I've had my friends join the podcast, but then I've had people like Ed Balls, Simon Thomas, like people, well-known people join just because it's such an important subject that they want to talk about. They want to promote the subject. And I get like 150, 200 views. It's nothing special. But if one person sees what they want, if one person sees that, they go, yeah, okay, that's everyone can feel like that. Danny, yourself, like.
Sorry, I was just saying that's exactly what we say. If we help one person, then we've done well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Johnny's obviously just spoken about the platform, and in terms of why he got you on board, what attracted you to the platform? Why do you do it?
Yeah, like I said, we've worked together now for about 5 or 6 years. Me and Johnny always been incredibly open with our own mental health, and I think the position I'm at now in life, where I'm managing better, I feel as though I can add a lot of value to people and raising the awareness of it. It's happened numerous times. We're waking up to messages away from Say It Loud on our Facebook accounts and Instagram. We're helping people, and the feeling that you get from helping people, I don't think can be replicated. When you see somebody's reaching out to you in their hour of need, it's a big thing because it's hard to talk, right? It's
Absolutely.
hard, getting stopped around Tesco's, people unloading on you. It's not a problem. I want to make a difference. Johnny's used the word legacy already. We want to leave a legacy. Norwich is our baby. We're from Norwich, and the impact already that we're having within the city is huge. Now where we want to go is national, and who knows, international after that.
Well, I mean, obviously, good luck to you because it's a worthwhile service from the bits I've seen. And like I say, as soon Robin, our chairman, as soon as he kind of mentioned that he'd spoke to you and what it was about, I was like, I'm desperate to talk to you to kind of promote the idea. Guys, thank you so much for doing this. I genuinely am so grateful to everyone of it, and especially the both of you for finding the time. I mean, we do these at unsociable hours, and by that I mean in the middle of the workday. So it's really grateful for you to find the time. Johnny, Danny, thank you for everything. Is there anything you want to say to leave people watching this with?
I think I've covered everything.
Awesome. No, that's absolutely fine.
I'll just go on again if not.
I think Johnny said that what is sayitloud.com was the web address.
Yeah, sayitloud.com. Nice and simple.
There are also many others. As much as we do in Say It Loud, obviously it depends on your circumstances. If Say It Loud is one, but there's obviously lots of others like Mind Virus that can help. Like your friends can help. Whoever it is, just go and talk to them, or go and talk to someone if you think they're struggling, because that's equally as powerful. Yeah. And I've discovered that. So,
agreed.
Guys, thanks so much, Johnny, Danny.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you
very much.
Cheers.